Welcome to the Fourth and Long podcast with your host, Alec. Today on the show, you'll get my top 10 hot takes. Top 10 bold predictions, grading quarterback room, and much more. So, let's get started with my 10 bold predictions. At number 10, I have Michigan misses the playoff and Bryce Underwood gets benched. And I know Michigan fans aren't going to like this. Yes, I'm not going to reiterate myself. I am a Buckeye fan, but this is a non-biased Ohio State fan bold prediction right here. Michigan has too many hard games on their schedule this year in order for them to go a reasonable, well, some people are saying 11-1, 10-2. That is not going to happen. The best they're going to go is 8-4 or 9-3. And I'll tell you the three games I think they will lose. Ohio State, Indiana, Oklahoma. And I'm sorry, Michigan fans, if you disagree with me on those three games. But I don't think they're beating any of those three teams. And then plus, you got a whole new coaching staff. And Kyle Whittingham has already blatantly came out and said that the Ohio State game doesn't mean anything. It's not a rivalry, which to me is a slap in the face. It is a blatant slap in the face to tell me that, Ohio State, Michigan means nothing. And now to the Bryce Underwood side of this. So, Bryce Underwood, Michigan fans, I need you to understand. I don't think he's overrated. The problem is I don't think he's good enough to be. Yes, he's the starting quarterback right now at Michigan. But he's going to get benched this year. He's going to have a stretch where he throws, and a couple games where he throws 2 or 3 interceptions. You're going to say, Alec, you're delusional. There's no way Michigan's going to bench him. I could say the same thing about Julian Sand, but I know Ohio State's not going to bench him. But for Bryce Underwood, I think the kid I think he needs to sit on the bench and develop. I don't think he should have started last year for Michigan, and I don't think he should be the starter this year. That is my bold prediction number 10. At bold prediction number 9, I have South Carolina wins 8 games this year. I looked at South Carolina's schedule. They have so many winnable games. It's not even funny. They don't play Florida. They don't play Tennessee. Not that they wouldn't beat they wouldn't beat the Gators. They wouldn't beat Tennessee. I can tell you that right now. They would not beat Tennessee. But I do think they can win 8 games as long as their big boys on offense and Harbor and Sellers stay healthy and Dylan Stewart stays healthy on defense. At number 8, I've got 2 group of 5 teams make the playoff this year. One of them being, I think South Florida is going to be one. Hello, how are you doing? I think South Florida is going to be one of the group of 5 teams that makes it, and here's why. Brian Hartline is the new head coach of South Florida. I think South Florida makes it Brian Hartline's first year. He's got 53 guys coming back from last year's team at USF. And he's got 16 or 17 new transfers coming in. He assembled a really good coaching staff. And the other G5 team I think that's going to make it is either going to be Boise State or UNLV. Those are the two group of 5 teams I think that can make the playoff this year. At number 7, I have Eric Morris wins Coach of the Year. Oklahoma State can't be any worse than they were last year. And that's why Mike Gundy's gone, and they've got a new man in charge now, and Eric Morris. And I believe Eric Morris, you're going to see this year in the Big 12, you're going to see Oklahoma State win at least, I'm not going to be too bullish, I'm going to say maybe 8 games. They're going to improve compared to what they were last year. They will win between 7 to 8 games this year. And I can see Eric Morris winning Big 12 Coach of the Year. Number 6. And this is a piping hot, bold prediction. Texas loses to Ohio State again for the 3rd time in 3 years. They lost to Ohio State in the playoff in 2024. They lost to Ohio State in 2025. They're going to lose to Ohio State again in 2026. And on top of this bold prediction, I'm also going to say that Arch Manning does not win the Heisman. Arch does not win the Heisman this year. At number 5, South Florida wins the American. The American is wide open. You've got South Florida could win it, Memphis could win it, Navy could win it, Tulane could still win it. But with all the moves South Florida made in the offseason, getting Brian Hartline, Josh Aldridge as defense coordinator, Tim Beck as offense coordinator. Tim Beck was a good offensive coordinator. He was not a good head coach. But here's the thing. South Florida's they had the toughest schedule last year in college in the G5. This year they have the easiest schedule in the G5, which gives me cause for optimism that they will win the American. That is 5. Oh, and South Florida also makes the playoff. There it is again. At number 4, 3 head coaches get fired this year. Mike Locksley, Bill O'Brien, and Shane Beamer. Yes, I know I said South Carolina wins 8 games, but there's also the possibility that everything just blows up in their face and Shane Beamer ends up getting fired at the end of the year. Because I don't think he gets fired during the season. I think if he gets fired, it's at the end of the year. And then the other 2 guys, Locksley and O'Brien. Locksley, I don't know. I don't understand how he made it through this past coaching cycle. There was some good names out there that Maryland could have went after to be their next head coach. Instead, they chose to stick with Locksley. And now everybody's trying to hype up Maryland again and say, oh, they're going to win 8 to 9 games this year. They're going to be a real player in the Big Ten. No, they're not. And Locksley is treading on thin ice. And the last one is Bill O'Brien. How does Bill O'Brien still have a job? He should have been another coach that should have been fired last year. But then again, what do I know? I'm just a talking head that has a college football podcast. Number 3, the Big Ten wins its 3rd straight national championship. And I'm not saying it's going to be Ohio State that wins it. Maybe it's Indiana. Maybe it's somebody would I talk about like Iowa, or and this one would hurt me. Michigan. I don't see Michigan doing it, but you never know. Number 2, Julian Sayin. And I'm going to say this, non-biased Ohio State, these are just bold predictions. Doesn't mean it's going to happen. My number 2 bold prediction, Julian Sayin wins the Heisman in 2026. Julian Sayin had a really good, if you look at his stat list, he had a really good season. And everybody's trying to say, oh, it's going to be Darian Mensah. It's going to be Arch. The name I keep hearing is Arch Manning. Can we please stop hyping up Arch Manning to be the Heisman? We saw how that went last year. My top 3 preseason Heisman people right now are at number 3, Trinidad Chambliss from Ole Miss, 2, Josh Hoover, Indiana, 1, Julian Sayin from Ohio State. And that's not me propping up Julian Sayin because I'm a Buckeye fan. I know ball. And I know Julian Sayin is going to have a really good season. And my number 1 bold prediction for the 2026 college football season is Indiana wins its 2nd straight national championship. Yes, I said it, ladies and gentlemen. I said it. Indiana wins its 2nd straight natty. Yes. And I want to say this. It's official. I'm going to the Tennessee-Texas game in Knoxville on September 26th. I don't know what the plan is yet. I just know I'm going to the game. So if you see me around Knoxville that weekend, stop and say hi. I will sign autographs. I will take pictures, talk to fans. So if you see me then, stop. Don't be afraid to stop and say hi. But please remember, be respectful. That's all I ask for my fans. Be respectful. If I'm in a conversation with somebody that stopped to say hi, don't barge in. That's all I ask. Now, on to the next part of the show. Grading QB rooms in the Big Ten. And we are going to start with Illinois. No more Luke Altmaier. Let's see what we're working with here in Champaign. I can already tell off rep. Caden Hauser is going to be the starter here for Illinois. I'm giving this QB room a B+. I like that Caden Hauser is going to be the starter here. But I also like that they have, I believe it's Jonathan Newton. Jashawn Newton is the freshman in this room. 6'3", 6 foot, 215 from St. Petersburg, Florida. That's around my neck of the woods. I grew up in the state of Florida, so I know a lot about high school football in the state of Florida. And I like the youth. Hauser is his senior, so he'll be going to the NFL after this year. And if you disagree with any of my grades on these QB rooms, please let me know. And please sound off in the comment section down below. We get to Indiana now. And Indiana has another transfer quarterback in Josh Hoover. Hoover is a senior, just like Fernando Mendoza was last year. So who is going to be going to the NFL this year? If he has a good year, he could be the next Fernando Mendoza where he goes number one overall. And that's why nobody's really talking about him right now, because we don't know how he was okay at Texas Christian University, but you put him in the Kirk Cignetti offense, he might go off. And then you got freshman Tyler Cherry and another freshman and Jacob Bell. This Indiana quarterback room, A+. You got two freshmen in there with the senior Hoover, who's probably going to be your starter. I would say Indiana's got a good chance of repeating. We get to Iowa's QB room now. And Iowa's got an interesting quarterback room. I don't believe they have named a starter yet. You've got Ryan Fitzgerald, a sophomore. You've got Hank Brown, Jeremy Helinski. Actually, I believe Jeremy Helinski is going to be. And Iowa fans, if I'm butchering his last name, please let me know in the comments. But he's going to be the starter. I'm just going to call him Jeremy. He's going to be the starter. I give this quarterback room a grade of B-. Iowa is that, and I say this with all love and respect to Iowa. They are a gnat that you swat it away and you think it's gone, and they reappear. We get down to Maryland. We already know who Maryland's quarterback is going to be. It's going to be Lake Washington. I'm giving their quarterback room a B-, because after Malik Washington, you have I don't really see any promise in their quarterback room after Malik Washington. And I'm sorry to say that. C- for me. And I talked about it in the bold predictions. Mike Locksley is on the hot seat. I know there's people that say, oh, his seat is cool. No, it's on fire. If they start the season bad, 0-3, 0-4, he could be gone. We get down to Michigan State and their QB room. And their starting quarterback is Alisios Meligorevich, the sophomore out of Naperville, Illinois. And Michigan State's got an interesting QB room. They've got Cam Fancher. They've got Eliseo Milivojevic, who's going to be the starter. I'm giving them a B-. No, just a straight B. Their quarterback group is Cam Fancher has experience, and I think Milivojevic doesn't do good and he gets benched. It is going to be Cam Fancher starting, which, again, maybe. Michigan already has their starting quarterback, too. It is Bryce Underwood, the sophomore, out of Detroit. I'm giving the rest of their QB room a passing grade of a C-, because you got it's all underclassmen other than Braden Fowler, Nicolosi. Who, if Underwood struggles, I could see Fowler, Nicolosi totally getting reps as the QB1. And I said that was my first bold prediction, was that Bryce Underwood gets benched at some point in the season. This is a D- quarterback room. And I know I'm going to get hate for Michigan Fitz. I don't care. That is my opinion. Minnesota. We are not close to being done yet. We still got Nebraska, Ohio State. Minnesota, you got Drake Lindsay as your quarterback, the sophomore. Yes, I know he's been in some trouble off the field, but he's still a really good quarterback. And I'm giving this quarterback room, here's a F. I'm giving it in the middle a C+. Again, and you could say DJ Fleck's another guy that's on the hot seat. Because they've gone 7-5 the last few years. And I don't know how much longer that, I don't know how much longer their AD is going to take PJ Fleck only winning 7 games a year. Nebraska. Anthony Calandri has been named the starter, which we kind of knew all along. I'm giving the rest of their room, their cute quarterback room, a B-. You got TJ Lateef, who, unless after this year they don't go back in the portal and get another quarterback, TJ Lateef in 2027 should be the starting quarterback for Nebraska. And if I'm right, come back to episode 38 of the Fourth and Long podcast. But a B- for their quarterback room. We get to, I believe it's Northwestern. Yes, it is. Northwestern's quarterback room. And their quarterback is Aiden Childs, the senior. They do have 2 other guys. And they also do have Nico Marchiol, who did get some starts at West Virginia. But it seems like Aiden Childs is going to be the starting quarterback there. And this is the big year for David Braun. He's another guy that you could say is on the hot seat. This quarterback room, incomplete grade. I can't grade it right now. I need to see a few games of it, whether it be Aiden Childs, whether it be Nico Marchiol, or even Aiden Gray. One of those 3 guys I think is going to be the starter if they haven't already named Aiden Childs the starter. Ohio State's quarterback. Obviously, we already know that Jillian Sayin is the starter. But you look behind, this quarterback room gets a whopping A+. And it's not because I'm biased. I like the 2 freshmen that they brought in. I like that they brought in a transfer and Justin Martin. But then you got Tavian St. Clair behind Julian Sayin. You got Brady Goebel behind St. Clair. and then Luke Fahia behind him, who's out of California. So Ohio State has depth at the QB position. So their QB room, like I said, an A+. I'm probably going to give Oregon's the same thing because you got Dante Moore and Dylan Raiola. Oregon. Oregon's quarterback room, yes. I'm giving it an A-. I like that Dante Moore's back, which he made the right choice. And then you got Dylan Raiola. And you got Achilles Smith Jr., also in that quarterback room, who's a freshman out of San Diego. And Dante Moore's the starter this year. He's probably going to go pro unless he has another bad year. And then next year, you have Dylan Raiola. And then after that, it could be Achilles Smith Jr. It could be Ryder Haynes. Or it could be the freshman that's coming in out of Salem, Oregon, and TCM. I'm not going to try to pronounce that last name. Penn State's quarterback room. Let's see. What am I grading it? B-. Rocco Becht is going to be their starter this year, obviously. And then you got a whole bunch of, Connor Berry was there last year. You've got two freshmen and a junior. But Rocco Becht is the starter. B- for Penn State. I hate grading quarterback rooms, but at the same time, I have to. Purdue, we already know it's going to be Ryan Braun. I'm giving their quarterback room without even clicking on it a C-. Rutgers, same thing, C-. Next one, UCLA. We're going to see their quarterback room. Nico. We know Nico Iamaleava is going to be the starter at UCLA. But you see behind him, you got his brother, Madden Iamaleava. I'm giving this quarterback room a solid grade of a B. I like that they do have Nico is the upperclassman in this quarterback room that has experience. He's going to be the starter. Bob Chesney's time of recording this, well, I'm live. If Bob Chesney has not already came out and said that Nico is going to be the starter, it's kind of obvious. Because he didn't come back to sit on the bench and sit behind his brother. We've got 3 more Big Ten teams left. For the second to last, third to last is USC. And Jaden Mayava is back. I'm giving their quarterback room a A-. I like Mayava. I like James Johnson, the freshman. Washington is next. And Damon Williams is their starting quarterback, as we know. And I'm giving Washington a B-. They do have Eli Brown, but like I've said, Damon Williams, the junior, Damon Williams, is going to be the starting quarterback. He was good last year, and I know there was some issues in the offseason with Devon Williams, with his NIL money and other schools supposedly trying to pay him and bidding an amount of money. But as we saw, that didn't work. He's back. And then Wisconsin is last. And I'm sorry, Wisconsin fans. Your quarterback room gets an F. It's the only one I've given an F to. I don't see any. Let me just click on your quarterback room. No. We want quarterbacks only. No running backs. Actually, I take back the F grade I gave you. I mean, Cole Joseph, junior quarterback that transferred in from Old Dominion, I think he's going to be good. I'm going to give you a C minus, but I can always, these grades are going to change throughout the season. So right now, like you saw the other ones I did, the other grades I gave out. Yes, they may have been bad, but who cares? C minus right now for Wisconsin. And ladies and gentlemen, if you've enjoyed the show, please remember, like, subscribe, and help us push this out to more people. Please check out the website. I will be the sportsbreakdown.net website. I will be putting more stuff up there after the show. But that wraps up today's show. Thank you for watching. Have a wonderful rest of your Thursday. I will see everybody back here Monday. And it will not be college football. I will be starting a new podcast called Alec Talks Life podcast for Monday at the same time that I usually do all my college football stuff. So I will see everybody then.